Hey guys, Todd from Juno Bait coming at you with the next installment in the Back to Basics series. I'm gonna call it the I Gotcha hook, line, and sinker. I got Trey laughing in the background, so it's a successful video if nothing else. Hopefully at least 3 other people out there are amused. I mean, I'm amused myself, Trey laughed, so, well, maybe just one more person. Anyway, back to business. We're talking about hooks. It's not rocket science, it's hooks, but kind of is rocket science. So anyway, bear with me here. We'll get back on track eventually. So very common question. If you're a beginner, and even honestly not even for full beginners, but people that have fished is, what size hook should I use for, and insert any number of species? Or I'm going, here and I want to fish for this species, what hook should I use? And the honest answer is there's not a set answer. It varies a lot. I'm going to give you a couple general rules of thumb to consider when you're picking out your hook and some things that will help make it a better hook selection. First and foremost, always remember that you don't want to match your hook to the species specifically. It's going to be much better to match the hook that you're using to the bait that you're using. Now, you obviously will keep in mind what you're semi-targeting or a desired species at some level. You're not going to use a 7.0 double strength hook to catch bluegill. But at the same time, you could catch a very large fish on a small thin wire hook if it's matched to the bait correctly. So I'll get more into that as far as like how you want to kind of determine some of that stuff as we go along here. But general rule of thumb, match the hook to the bait you're using with the species in mind, but not specifically. You can't use, if you're using live shrimp, you can't take a 7.0 hook and put it in there because you want to catch a snook. It's got to be matched to the bait and also the tackle that you're using. As important as the bait is the tackle itself. If you're using 60-pound test line and you try and put a thin wire long shank hook on, as soon as you set the hook, this hook is going to bend out. That's just what's going to happen. So you've got to also match the tackle to it. For example, if you're snook fishing with heavy line, a small short shank J hook is going to be good. You're not going to want to use the same light wire circle hook in a similar size for snook fishing, but this would be a very popular hook for sail fishing with 20-pound test. So match the tackle to the hook, match it to the bait as well. Keep in mind the species that you're fishing for. Bait choice is going to determine the hook size, and if it's live or if it's frozen bait will also matter. With frozen bait, you want to go with as big a hook as you can get away with, but not so obtrusive that it takes over. If you're using a piece of shrimp or a piece of squid and a big hook, it's not going to work. A smaller hook that you can kind of hide in the bait is going to be the way to go. As you get bigger with your baits, size up the hook. Same with live baits. A shrimp is going to have a lot easier time carrying a small light wire hook around in place of a big hook. So match it to the bait, and remember that the smaller the hook you can get away with is going to be the easier for a live bait to, swim around with and not just, be sunk to the bottom. Along those lines, you have to also consider that where you're fishing and how, the presentation goes in the hook set. If you have a lot of time, you can get away with a circle hook where the fish can swim off. You have time to let the circle hook work. You can reel down on them. If it's a fast bite, fish turns and runs towards a piling, you might be better off with a J hook. And so that'll also determine into it. So see, there's a lot of variables that go into picking the hook. If you're fishing, and then also, so there's a lot, we'll try and keep it short, but I'm trying to hit all the points here as well. When you're snook fishing, say this was a 9-inch mullet and you're snook fishing, you've got them pinned on, through the head or through the back, depending on how you're presenting the bait. That hook has to pull out of that bait to get the hook set. So a little hook is not gonna, if you take and pin that little hook in there, that's not gonna pull out as easy as a big hook will under force. So you also have to consider that into the equation. Keep those things in mind You know, whereas, you know, you can get away with a smaller circle hook. Sailfishing wise, they use this hook because they, you know, the hook's presented on the outside. So hook placement will also determine that. So rundown on picking hooks. Hopefully that didn't confuse you more than it helped. If you have any questions, put them in the comments for us. Come by, you know, see us at the shop. We'll be happy to get you squared away with picking a good size hook. Don't worry, we're not going to sell you that crazy thing. Whatever that hook is, we're not going to try and sell you that. Well, actually we might. It's pretty cool. Thanks for watching, guys.